All right, so I want to speak about what I've been noticing lately with the ADOS movement. Mind you, I am an ADOS person on both sides, American descendant of chattel slavery on both sides, mother and father. So I'm not a double agent or somebody that has dual allegiances. I'm just keeping it real. What I've been noticing for the past, I would say, within the past year and a half. Now, I would consider myself a person who hasn't been woke his entire life. I've been woke maybe for the past 3, maybe 4 years. I knew nothing about Nellie Fuller. I knew nothing about Francis Cress Welsing, any of that stuff. So I was kind of in the dark about this stuff. So I didn't get conscious till Roots came out with a series, and I remember Snoop Dogg had said, "I'm tired of seeing slave movies. I'm tired of seeing our ass get whipped. I'm tired of that shit, dog. Let's start watching slave movies. I'm tired of it. Let's do something better." And around that time, um, there was a lot of ADOS who was kind of like, "Yeah, Snoop is right. Fuck these slave movies, man. We need to be watching real movies like Hidden Colors." But around that time, I was unconscious. I just was totally off code, and I didn't know nothing about us in ADOS history. It wasn't even called ADOS back then. Um, so I kind of was searching on the internet about people's opinions on as far as Roots review. And Tariq Nasheed was one of the first videos that popped up. So that's how I kind of got introduced to him. And I purchased his DVDs because um, I was like, wow, this dude has a pretty interesting take. He was like, there's nothing wrong with Roots. You can watch Roots, but just after you watch Roots, make sure that you cut on Hidden Colors. So I purchased Hidden Colors, and I was like, wow, this is pretty good. I think that his series has done a great service to the Black community, especially me, because I was completely off code, as you would say. And I'm speaking about the Nellie Fuller code. So I was completely off code. I didn't know anything about Nellie Fuller. So after watching those movies, I feel like, wow, this is awesome. This is amazing. This is stuff that I've never ever heard about, never even thought about. This is incredible. So the Hidden Color series was a godsend for me. So I started to go to a lot of African bookstores and patronize a lot of Black-owned businesses, quote unquote, and purchasing literature and reading more and more about this history that I was seeing inside of this documentary. And to that, I owe Tariq some kind of debt, because I feel like without his DVDs, I wouldn't even been on a path to kind of discover different authors, different people that are very knowledgeable about the system of white supremacy. But as of lately, I feel like Tariq's kind of fell off, man. And I know a lot of people gonna say, "Man, you're an agent. You're an agent." Mind you, I'm not the Negro that's wrapped in the American flag. Never was, never will be. I'm not that guy. Now you can go to his latest Indiegogo campaign, where he has a commercial of Black people wrapped around the American flag, and it's crazy because it just seemed like maybe, I don't know, a couple years back there was this thing where Candace Owens and all of these Black people were supposed to be, it was like Black conservatives, and they were going to some damn I forget what that thing was called. It's like I think it's called Turning Point USA. And that shit just kind of looked like an offshoot of Turning Point USA. And I'm like, second of all, Um, we just had this thing where the founders of the term American descendants of slavery, which is Yvette Carnell, who Yvette Carnell and TONETALKS, who kind of found success within the past couple of years within the conscious community. It was kind of a tug of war because Yvette Carnell went at it with Boyce Watkins, and Boyce Watkins was somebody who I found out to be just a complete con artist. And I didn't like the stuff that she was saying about, I think she has said some disparaging things about Frances Cress Welsing. She's also said some disparaging things about was it Minister Farrakhan. She's also said some disparaging things about Dr. Claude Anderson. And I'll touch on that later. But TONETALKS and her, they kind of teamed up and they got popping. They got it cracking. They came up with this term, and they just had, what's his name, Crosby, or Kevin Crosby, I think. He's head of Simmons College, and it's a HBCU in Kentucky. And he assisted them on forming this not foundational, American Descendants of Slavery Conference. And they just recently announced that they're going to have another conference in 2020, which I think is awesome. First time I didn't go, maybe this time I'll go. So shortly after that, maybe a month afterwards, you have Tariq coming out with this foundational Black American conference. And that commercial I just told you about, and he wants $200,000 for it. I didn't think too much of it. But Mechee X comes out with a video, and she's just going in on him. And I feel like Tariq Nasheed had no choice but to go after Mechee X the way that he did. He had no choice because she came at him completely foul. She came at him just completely wrong. But I will say that Mechee X, if you take away a lot of the cursing, if you take away a lot of the name calling and the rage, the stuff the content that she was saying, it kind of has some merit to it. Not all of it, because she said that he was taking the money and he was forcing the people to pay double, which I feel was incorrect, because if I'm not mistaken, on this website campaign or on the Indiegogo campaign, there is an option to purchase a ticket ahead of time. And not only purchase this ticket ahead of time, but there's other little extra things that you could do. I feel the prices are predatory. I feel like it's kind of disgusting. And knowing that American descendants of slaves knowing where the wealth gap is, and Blacks not having that type of money for you to pay $500 for a photo op to meet Riza Islam or whoever's going to be there, and pay this crazy amount of money just to get a picture with Tariq Nasheed, that's just, come on. To me, that's predatory. But I know that there are some people who really want to meet him, who never had a chance to meet him, and they're willing to pay that. So I can't really say that that's cheating or that's fraud. He's offering a service that somebody's willing to pay, and they feel like that's the value that they're going to get by meeting him. Whether it's 1 minute, I'm sorry, my voice is cracking, whether it's 5 minutes or whatever, if they want to pay that, that's on them. So I feel that that was something that she said that was incorrect. But, I saw that thing unfold, and I says, you know what, she's kind of on to something. She's kind of on to something. Now, I feel like if the people want to pay that amount of money and he doesn't have to answer no, if they feel like, look, this is something they asked him to do and they want to pay, that's fine. I think the conference is going to go no matter what. The conference is going to go no matter what. So it's going to happen. So whether you like or dislike this video, the conference is going to happen. You already made your mind up that you was going to donate to it, and that you was already going to go, and it was already going to happen. So by that, hey, it's nothing I can really say. So this is just an honest critique. It seems as if this is just a not a hustle for this guy, but he knows that people will pay a certain amount of money to go to one of his events. And $50 is not a lot of money to go to an event. There are conventions that cost more money, but at the same time, I think that we have moved away from solutions. We just have. I feel like getting in a conference and paying this exorbitant amount of money to go to a conference, mind you, the ADOS conference by TONETALKS and Yvette Carnell, that was only $15. That was taking in consideration that people are going to fly out to Kentucky, because not everybody's from Kentucky, that ADOS was going to fly out to Kentucky, that they were going to have to get a hotel, they were going to have to rent a hotel, they were going to have to pay money for flight or gas or whatever, however they got to get there and get back. They had to kind of find a way to have money to eat, have money to this is basically a mini vacation. So I think that TONETALKS has always been clear that he wanted the tickets at a certain amount of price because he knows that Black Americans aren't making the type of money that they could pay more, crazy amounts of money. But, I feel like we've become too bougie and we've become too possessed by entertainment. There was a lot of things that he was saying in his response that was very revealing. Like, he was showing off his mansion. Look at my mansion and look at this. And it seems crazy that just a couple months ago, he was calling out Jay Morrison for doing that same thing. Like, I'm rich. People don't like me because I'm rich, and I'm swaggy. And it seemed like he was doing the same thing. He was showing off his mansion, bragging about, oh, yeah, I bought, my daughter has her own business and blah, 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 blah. And putting down this woman because she had a son that's in prison. And how many ADOS have sons that are in prison because of mass incarceration and their kids being caught up in the streets? I mean, that's not necessarily something that you should make fun of or put a person down. There's so many Black women that have children in jail. That doesn't make them bad mothers or anything. It just means that their kids were caught up in the streets. Besides, Tariq doesn't have a clean jail record. I mean, this guy has a record himself. He's been to jail before. So what makes him any better than somebody because their kid got caught up in the streets? So that's one thing I didn't like. And him framing everything as if there's some kind of boogeyman out there that's going to get people if they don't fund his FBA conference. And I think the FBA conference is going to be successful. But at the same time, I just don't like this whole boogeyman thing. Like, they don't want it to happen. And it's like, yeah, well, they just had a ADOS conference in Kentucky. That nothing was wrong with that. Why do you feel like you have to put your spin on it and call it Foundational Black American? Why? Because maybe you was trying to sell shirts and you had to change the name to Foundational Black American so you could sell your shirts, and then you put some Pan-Africans on there or people that were African centered on your shirt, and it's like, how does that make sense? And he brags about, oh, well, people ask me what I've done for the community. I've paid for funerals. I've paid for funerals. I've done this. I've done that. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I think that you've done a great job as far as entertainment. But beyond entertainment, I can't really say what else. His entertainment, he has a way of selling DVDs, selling pretty much valuable information through DVDs. But as far as what he's done for the Black community, I don't if the system of white supremacy is still here. I don't know if there's too much anybody could do. I feel like asking $200,000 for a super PAC, which is a super political action committee that will have an ADOS driven type of you know uh, agenda, that absolutely would make more sense than paying $200,000 for a conference where people are just going to speak and we're just going to get this high of wow, man, everybody has the same mindset, so we're cool. Yeah, man, we're making progress. Slap, high five. This is feel good stuff. But at the end of the day, what type of solutions are we working towards? And I feel like we're getting away from that. And mind you, this is probably going to be held somewhere that's at a white-owned venue, and nobody's really caring about that because everybody's talking about, oh, this is dusty. Oh, you're broke. Oh, you're poor. Oh, you're Section 8. You're a hood rat. Da 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 da. Dude, that's the conditions that Black American descendants of slavery live in. Have you guys forgotten what this whole ADOS movement's about? Or is it just, this foundational Black American thing is just I consider myself ADOS. I don't know what the fuck a foundational Black American is or what that means. That just sounds like some Tariq shit that he's trying to spin to get people to have his own, Tariq-led thing. But I consider myself American descendant of chattel slavery. And I think that Tone Talks and Yvette are pretty cool. I don't really have too much bad things to say about them, just besides that universal health care thing that Tone Talks believe in, and his views on interracial relationships. And I don't really too much agree with Yvette Carnell, her whole America First type of mindset. And I just, hey, it's some things I disagree with the people who kind of coined the term ADOS, but I get it. I totally get it. I agree with them as far as we need to have politics that are centered around our lineage. That's what I agree with. I believe that Pan-Africanism should be the goal, but even though that's not realistic, hey, that's where I disagree with my Pan-African brothers. But speaking of interracial relationships, it was something that he also said in his attack against Mechee X, where he had said, "Oh, well, because her father is a white man and her mother is a Black woman, she's not really Black." And the crazy part about that is his wife is biracial. And the mother is white and the father is Black. But he tried to spin it in a way to make it seem as if there was a big difference in a tragic arrangement. I mean, to me, a tragic arrangement is a tragic arrangement. Maybe that's the reason he has Ice-T, a guy that's in a tragic arrangement, and Dame Dash, a guy who's in a tragic arrangement in his film. Maybe that's, hey, I don't know. Maybe that's the reason he only calls people bedbugs that are involved in same-sex relationships, or he never really calls out Black men who date white women. He only calls out Black women who date white men, which is kind of odd. And this whole reasoning behind that makes zero sense to me. But him calling out Mechee X, this is all starting to come out. And it's like, man, your politics are horrible. Where do you get that from? What are you talking about? All his followers, oh man, you're not on code, man. You got to be on code. And it's like, be on code with what? This is totally against Neely Fuller's code book. So what code are we following? It's just completely all over the place. He went from standing with Kaepernick to not standing with Kaepernick and being draped in the American flag and being proud. It's like Stockholm syndrome. Well, hell, I can't beat him. I might as well join them and be wrapped in the flag and kind of think of myself as a white man and charge these white man prices. See, we didn't got away from, damn, we need to build. Everything he said in his DVDs, we need to kind of work with other black people and kind of build ourselves up. No, he's like, I want my stuff to be fly. So if he has to go to a suspected white supremacist building and pay them $200,000 to get the place that's fly and extravagant, he'll do that. He won't go to a black person who maybe doesn't have the extravagant place, and he'll do business with white people before his own people, and then try to spin it as, hey, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have vendors and I'm going to have lawyers meet lawyers and other black people meet other black people. So it's kind of like I'm still doing this whole black empowerment thing, but majority of the money is going to white folks. And the majority of his fans are cheering that on. It's like, what in the hell happened? Where are we going? It's the blind leading the blind. But nobody's questioning anything because it's like, oh man, I'm so in love with this personality. And it's sickening. It's really disgusting. You got to, okay, we have the ADOS movement that's basically in part of the racial wealth gap. And you have this guy who's trying to spin this whole foundational black American. Yeah, I'm FBA, I'm foundational black American. And he's talking about, oh, you're on Section 8, you're dusty, you're a hood rat, you're this and this and that. So he's poor shaming. And he's showing off his mansion. Mind you, this guy doesn't live in the hood, man. This guy stays in Chatsworth for Northridge over there with the brush fires and the goddamn coyotes, man. This guy don't stay in the hood with the black people. You know, I mean, this is why he was so off base when the Nipsey Hussle murder happened. He was coming up with governments, conspiracies, and all of this bull crap, man. It's like he's not in touch with the people. He thinks that he's a wealthy black man that just ain't got to deal with common, regular black people. And I love all my black people. Whether you poor, whether you rich, or whatever. I ain't got to put you down because you're on Section 8. I don't think Tone Talks or Yvette Carnell will co-sign some of the stuff that this dude's doing. He's out of control. But, you know, I'm the agent. But mind you, I'm not at Quantico. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got the flag wrapped around me. But you looking at me crazy, and this dude wrapped around the American flag, and he telling you that the red, black, and green, oh, that's from agents. It's like he escaped everything he was talking about. What the hell is going on? You had people on your damn DVD, your Hidden Colors 2 or Hidden Colors 3. You had guys stomping on a flag on the goddamn one of those DVD segments. And now you're telling me, oh yeah, we need to embrace it. This guy's just moving from thing that, you know, whatever's hot. He saw that Yvette Carnell and TONETALKS were getting momentum. And he hopped on that. He hopped on that. He went from, oh yeah, we got to use that Moorish blood and we got to have that Moorish spirit. And we got to fight up at this, you know, more us. And he was creating games and all this stuff. And now it's like, oh, hell no. F these Nigerians. F these Africans. What the hell's going on? He went from, oh yeah, let's make a documentary in Haiti to, oh, these Haitian immigrants, man. they coming over here and they doing this and they have it doing that. And remember, he said he was going to build some houses in Haiti. Whatever happened to that? He said, "Oh, I'm going to Haiti and we're going to build some plots or some for some homes and we're going to put some Haitian people in there." Whatever happened to that? So, I've been a fan for a minute, but I'm just saying, come on, this fuckery, this is too damn much. I mean, when are you going to call somebody out for what they're doing if you see what they're doing they ain't right? I don't know, man. I'm out.